Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, and I've got two guys next to me that sure love this life, and it's Chris and Preston from LOCASH. Check out their new single, I Love This Life. Topping the charts and so many great things ahead. Check it out. Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, Chris and Preston. I was going to say overnight success, but 10 years don't make overnight success for LOCASH, does it?
No, not at all.
I tell you what, it's been a long journey.
You're on the Today Show this morning. You got a hit single, number one single. When you look back, this is the story that we hear for so many artists. You see, I think of Amy Schumer as a great example.
Yeah.
Everyone sees this was the year of Amy Schumer. She's been at this for 11 years.
Yeah.
You guys have a similar story. So when you experience this type of success, walk me through it.
Dude, it's a surreal moment. We know what we've put behind it. We've always had the cards kind of stacked against us, and we've never listened to them. We would just push them aside, because, being on an indie label especially, and, being on 3 or 4 bad record deals where they folded, it wasn't our fault. They ran out of funding and stuff. And next thing you know, man, where we were on Today's Show today, it took everything I had not to kind of just tear up just because of this moment. And I'm sitting there with one of the songwriters who's here with us today, and he's always like, "It's what you dreamt about, isn't it?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is, but it's just surreal right now." And I think because it did take so long, I would have loved it if it took 2 or 3 years too, but I wouldn't have learned everything. Things wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have met my wife. I wouldn't have a beautiful child at this moment. And just to see it then and now, and I can actually just feel like I did it. We did this.
Well,
we got ourselves here.
They say a hit song changes everything, and we've heard that for so many years, and we just never had a record label that could take us all the way to the top, and Reviver Records changed our life with that. David Ross, the CEO, looked us dead in the eye the day he wanted to sign us. He said, I Love This Life is going to be your hit. I'm going to take this all the way to the top. And, man, he kept his word, and we're just blessed and grateful and thankful to be part of this moment because it's true. A hit song really changes your life, and it did that for us.
One of the incredible things about you guys are like the hardest working act in show business. You are always performing. How much of that has helped you build your fan base and cultivated a following?
I think it's helped a lot of avenues for us because especially doing the live performance, when we've been victims of bad record deals, you know what I mean? The record deal would go, and we were like, oh, what are we doing? But we just know we never had that shot at radio. And people kept hiring us for our live show. So we had something. We knew we weren't like, we can't give this up. We have something. These fans keep coming. Yeah, these fans keep coming. They keep booking us. So we got to do this. We never had, like, the cards have always been stacked against us. It's never been like, oh, here, guys. It's never been like that. It still isn't because we're still an independent label.
And we knew we had
even after our number one song, it's still like this.
There would even be like festivals like Country Jam USA up in Wisconsin. We use them as an example. We started out like on the 11:30 in the afternoon slot.
And then people in the chair.
Yeah, there's like no one there yet. You know what I mean? And then they're like, that show was badass. We got to have you come back. So they would rebook us. And then the next summer we would come back and we'd move up to like the 12:30 slot. And each year the people were part of it. More and more people were coming, and they felt like they were, invested in our future. And we were a team together, the crowds and LOCASH as it built. And so now, here we are with like a 5:30 slot, and we're getting closer to 6:30 and 7:30 and the 9:30 and the 11 o'clock. And so a hit song comes along and just throws fire on all that. And so you built your way up over, like you said, a 10-year overnight success. You're sitting at the 5:30 slot, and then I Love This Life emerges. And then all the, it's game over.
All
Things
hell
are different.
breaks loose,
Yeah.
baby.
I was talking to somebody about you guys this weekend because I knew you were going to be in here, and I've had Florida Georgia Line in here before, and it reminds me of their story. Again, 2 hardworking guys, songwriters, and then Cruise comes out, and it just changes everything, and they go from, again, songwriters to performing New Year's Eve, performing everywhere. Right. When you look at something like that, does fame scare you? Like, I remember talking to them, and I was like, guys, fame scares the crap out of me. Do you ever think about, does fame scare you?
No, not really. I mean,
Bring it on.
Yeah, I was
Bring
like,
the money.
I think I've always dreamed about it. If you're going to be out sometimes, and you want people taking your picture, then that means they bought your album, they know who you are, so it really doesn't bother us. I mean, obviously we have families and people want to stay kind of secluded from that, but you're in this industry, you know it's going to happen, so it doesn't scare me at all.
I kind of feel like fame, like Chris said, it just means we're kind of doing something right with our music. We're connecting with someone out there, and that's what music and songwriting is all about for us. Whenever we sit down to write a song, we're trying to talk about real, honest situations where people can gravitate towards that, whether we're pulling on heartstrings or talking about our lives and what we're going through, like maybe it's a love thing or whatever, you know, maybe someone broke my heart and we sit down and write a song about her, or we talk about our wives, or we're writing about our children, whatever it may be, and somebody out there is connecting, and that's where fame just comes together, you know? I mean, you have a hit song like I Love This Life, you're on TV, all of a sudden people love it, and fame comes with that. So, I mean, it doesn't scare us at all.
You mentioned something that really made me think about a current topic right now. You mentioned bad record deals. And right now, Kesha, you've probably heard what's going on with her. Obviously, totally different situation. You're dealing with potential sexual assault allegations, whole different ballgame. But it does show you the other side of the music business and how hard it is behind the scenes. For you guys going through that decade, you'd mentioned the bad record deals. What is the bad part of the music business? What are, for artists who are trying to make it, what are some of the things that they have to deal with? People, we see the good stuff with what's happening with you guys, but what's some of the bad stuff that goes on behind the scenes?
How long is this interview?
Oh my, as long as you want it to be.
I mean, because we could go on and on and
is
on.
Is it that bad and that hard behind the scenes?
It's very hard. And you know, you got to stay positive, and it's so hard to stay positive. You know, it's cool that we're a duo, so we get to lean on each other. You know, what Kesha's going through right now is disturbing for anyone. You know, and it sucks for her.
And it's amazing how Twitter has become the testimony
Isn't it
of
insane?
Dr. Luke.
And Taylor Swift.
It's amazing.
And Kanye West, which I'll ask you about in a second.
I mean, Dr. Luke is like, Dr. Luke says, okay, I'm breaking my silence on Twitter. And it's like, here comes all this, you know, and you're just dialogue. And you're just sucked right into it. It's amazing. But, you know, we were a victim of a bad record deal. And or two or three maybe, but you know, I think one of the pitfalls is when the label shut down on us. We had a song sitting at 31. We had a bullet. We were going up. It's a song called "Keep in Mind." Things were going so great for us, and then all of a sudden the label calls and says, "Man, we ran out of money and we're closing our doors." Well, where does that leave the artist? And Chris and I found out real quick. We still had a record deal with a company that had shut their doors.
Unbelievable.
So what do you do? How do you get off of that? I mean, where do you even begin? What happens to the music? What happens to the song that was sitting at 31?
And it's not like an athlete gets a bonus, a sign-in bonus, like a huge bonus, and they get the guaranteed 4 or 5 years money. And the team could fold, but they still get that 4 or 5 years money. We don't do that. Once that's gone, it's gone. There's no revenue. You know, there's no nothing.
If you think, and I say this a lot, if you think getting a record deal is hard, try getting out of one. That is, and we've gotten out of 2 to get to where we are today. And I think that's, I mean, we've been given and handed every opportunity to throw the towel in, to not persevere anymore. Just give up, dude.
Basically, they're the cards that were given to us.
Are there moments that becomes a reality? Are there moments you're struggling or things aren't happening and you say, maybe this isn't the path that I was chosen for?
One time it did. One time, it was 2011. I'll never forget it. It's when the song was climbing. We thought we were just on fire, and then it turned into 2011 in January. I lost my dad, who was my biggest fan, man. He's just a great guy, a great man, and it was hard. Hard losing him. I just had a baby, so it helped me to kind of have my child seeing, you know, the turnaround there. But we lost him. I lost my aunt a couple days after that. We lost a fiddle player who was only 30 years old.
Unbelievable.
And we lost our record deal. We lost a single, and everything was going downhill. And I remember us, when we got the call that we took our label, the label folded, we sat in the back and we're like, all right, you know, are we done? I mean, this is like, just keep punching.
Well, you're faced with that wall. You're faced with that decision. What are you going to do? Because it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of belief in just ourselves, because no one's got your back then, man. When everything goes cold, that phone goes cold, everything goes cold. And we're sitting in the back of the bus looking at each other, and we're like,
we had 60 dates left on the book for radio, and, you know, the label usually helps out with tour support for radio, because, you know, we want to help the radio people out, and the label usually pays for it. So we still had 60 on the books when the label folded.
So the label says, just cancel all your shows.
They're on the
because we're not going to be able to help you guys out. We've just closed our doors, and your tour support is over, and da-da-da. But our relationships with those guys and girls at radio meant more than just those, that money that it takes to get out to do those shows for them. And it was our word. We'd already told all these people we would be there.
If we didn't show up, it was over for us.
Such a bad look.
Yeah,
Very bad
it would have been.
Oh, we
horrible.
would never be here today.
Right.
It would never be, because who would get our back ever again? You know what I mean? So we took it upon ourselves. We said, you know what?
I lost my house.
Yeah.
Lost my house.
So you funded it out of your own pockets.
Funded it out of our publishing money. And we said, you know what? We've had a couple hits with,
Moved
some
out of
different
our house,
things. Yeah.
Lived in an apartment, could barely pay apartment, you know what I mean? And it's just, we're not like New York apartments either. We're talking like $600 a month, I couldn't even pay that, and I was holding my kid. And it was in November, and I remember just looking, my newborn and my wife, I'm sitting there, I was like, I don't know how we're gonna do this. I don't know. I'll go get a job. I'll do whatever I can, And 5 minutes after holding my kid and saying that, we got a phone call from Keith Urban.
No way. And what does Keith Urban say? Write me a song?
No, he's gonna say, I'm gonna cut one of the songs. I'm gonna put it as a
you've already
single.
written. Yeah,
That's
we already wrote it.
awesome.
And the song,
Changed.
and the song's called "You Gonna Fly," and so it's like, it's amazing. This the whole light at the end of the tunnel, and the song
There's
is "You
no
Gonna
light.
Fly."
That's when you know there's a higher being. There's a
Yeah.
God.
I was
He's
holding my kid
listening.
up like Simba. I was holding Simba. I'm like, how am I gonna do this?
Oh my
And
God.
the phone rang, and that's the truth. That's how our life began to go back up.
You guys are bringing me to tears right now. This is awesome.
You know what's crazy is somebody said we were at our publishing company, and only that happened in November. So then December, January, February rolls around in 2012, and the song goes #1 on all charts, Canada, U.S., Australia. The song's just going bananas. Uganda, everywhere. And so the song, I made that part up. So, yeah.
I wonder if they do have Billboard charts in Uganda.
Actually,
#1 on the Billboard Ugandan charts.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later. It's true. So anyway, so the song goes #1 at the end of February in 2012, and we're back. This is it. Like, we're back. We've got some integrity. We've got some energy. We've gotten out of our record deal. Like, we're kind of regrouping a little bit. Things are starting to happen.
We just started writing more, just relaxing, doing what we did best. Because now we had some mailbox money. We can really just kind of
pay your apartment rent.
Right. We can really just relax and
And literally 4 months after that, Tim McGraw called and said, "Guys, you wrote a song called Truck Yeah that I love, and it's going to be my first single." And
that was his first on
boom.
Big Machine, right?
Mm-hmm. Here we come back. Yeah, here we come back again. Only 4 months after, "You Gonna Fly" goes #1. And man,
so
it just was
like all those times we were getting beat up. Now somebody's like, "Hey, come on, I'll pick you back up." I'd like to think my dad has something to do with that up there.
Sure he does.
But
Sure does.
it's from there on, it was just uphill. And some were baby steps, obviously, but there was no taking steps back anymore.
You mentioned Twitter, and I mentioned Kanye. And he had another Twitter rant this morning, by the way.
This morning? I missed it.
He went off on Bob Ezrin, the famous producer. Bob Ezrin ripped him in an article and pretty much called him an egomaniacal maniac and all this other stuff. And Kanye went off and goes, "Who are you? You're not relevant." This is a guy, by the way, who's worked with Pink Floyd, Alice Cooper, you name it. He's produced it. And he's like, "I'm going to send your kids Yeezys." It's the funniest. You got to read his new Twitter rant. But what are your thoughts on artists being able to live life out loud for social media? You like it? You don't like it? What are your thoughts?
Social media has its good perks and its bad perks because everybody, is entitled to their opinion, and it counts because it's online. Some obviously, if you have 2 followers, it's not really that big of a deal. But I think a lot of the guys are just doing it for attention. I think Kanye's out for attention, man. I don't know what it is.
You think it's a shtick or you think it's real?
I hope it's not real. I hope it's not, because I used to love Kanye West, man. I thought he was a genius.
The guy is a musical genius.
He is a musical
Hands
genius.
down, musical
There
genius.
is no doubting that. You cannot knock talent. But what's he doing, man? It's just, what are you doing? Just make your music. You're fantastic at that.
He's got us talking about him
This
on
is
Behind
true.
the
That's what I'm
Velvet
saying.
Rope.
But is it good or
Right
bad?
now.
And I'm a huge believer in there's no bad publicity, and Donald Trump is.
I'm
We were
with
just talking
you.
about it before you came in. Here's a guy who's multi-gajillionaire who's now potentially going to be the
Yeah.
Republican nominee. So it can go all ways. But I started thinking, is Kanye hurting his brand? Whatever his brand is it actually helping him at this point? Like you said, the guy's going to sell records because he's Kanye West no matter what. And controversy stirs up record sales when you're at beef with Taylor Swift and whatever.
A little bit of controversy.
But does it hurt you? Does it get to a point now where people are questioning, hey, is this guy even sane anymore? It's really fascinating.
I think that's what you got. I think people are questioning his integrity, and are you really like this, or is this just a publicity sign? I think half the American people are just like, oh, he just wants publicity for it too.
Well, I think at a certain point, you have your Charlie Sheens who knew how to maneuver it perfectly during all the tiger blood and all that stuff. I mean, we were all on pins and needles watching what Charlie Sheen would say next.
That was a funny time.
And it was crazy. And now we're watching Kanye, and we're waiting for what he's going to say next. Did you see this morning what he just said? It just continues to go. And it may be more of his genius. Whether we like it, we disagree, we agree, it may be more of his genius. Just keep us talking.
I just can't imagine a man that's that talented click like that. I mean, I don't know. He could, but, I've really enjoyed him, and now I'm just blown away of all the stuff the ranting. I mean, why
not really
Taylor Swift,
interested
dude?
in
Taylor
it.
Swift did nothing to you.
It takes away from the genius of the
It
music.
really
Right,
does.
to me,
That's the I grew up on that stuff. I was in high school when Jay-Z and Biggie started hitting, and then Kanye comes in with Graduation and these phenomenal albums. I mean, I was reciting every single song by heart. And now I don't know one Kanye song, but I can tell you what's on his Twitter feed. And that, to me, there's a tragicness behind it.
That's bad then, because I wouldn't want that rap personally.
You have all this incredible success happening. What's next? You now have a hit song. Where does it go from here?
We have a brand new single, and it just went to radio, and it was the second most added at radio. And I know that doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but that's a big deal for an artist to be the second most added. And it just means that radio program directors have added us to their playlist, and so now they begin the process of moving it up the charts.
Too. Like I Love His Life took a year to climb the charts. This one hopefully takes.
The second one's easier, I hear. I remember FGL saying after Cruise that it was easy. It's easier once they know who you are. They want to start playing their songs.
Yeah.
But it's still difficult because we're on an independent label, so you still have the critics out there going, maybe that one was lucky. Well, you can't say a song on a chart for a year is lucky, but we're seeing a lot more. Like we've already have like 44 stations playing it, and there's 150.
Yeah,
and it took like 6
reporters,
months to get like 44 on I Love His Life. So
so we're way ahead of schedule on this single. We're excited. It's called I Know Somebody, and it's a really cool song, man. It's this. It's kind of that whole thing. You need your car work done. Well, I know somebody, but he's actually speaking to a girl in a bar. He meets this girl in a bar, and when he says, I know somebody, and you're looking right in his eyes, who can show you around town, who can hang with you tonight. And it's just a little romantic story, and it seems to be working well.
So what I learned today, this is why I do not pick up the girls, because I do not have lines like that.
Try it tonight. Be like, hey, if you want a little,
See, in
walk
New York,
downtown.
it's different. It's like, hey, you want an Uber? I know somebody.
There you go.
it's all about
There you go.
Guys, congratulations on all of your
Thank you.
success. It's so great when you see success and the guys behind it are girls or anybody, aliens behind it are super awesome people. And
Thanks.
I can tell right away, you guys are just phenomenal
You're
people.
great,
So
too,
We're gonna
man.
go on a
Thanks, man.
Twitter rant right after this, so just to let you know.
Please make sure not to rip me.
We're gonna find somebody.
Be like, that dude, he smelled and his hair and his nose. What's wrong with him?
That's who your Grammy picks, or maybe who your Oscar picks were. So that's what.
Oh, so
All
let's
right,
get
so-
them official right
so-
now on our show.
Official Oscar picks. I'm going to actually blast this during the Oscars and tweet at you guys. I'm calling it now. We're going to use this clip. Ready? Leo wins for Best Actor. Brie Larson for Best Actress. Stallone for Best Supporting Actor. Alicia Vikander for Best Supporting Actress. Best Movie, The Revenant. Best Director, Alejandro González Iñárritu for The Revenant.
So The Revenant's just gonna kill it.
The Revenant's going to kill it.